Welcome to Life Stories, where real voices, raw emotions, and unforgettable moments take center stage. Today's story is one of heartbreak, courage, and the kind of love that only a child can show. It's about a single mother humiliated at her own brother's wedding, and how her 9-year-old son stood up, took the microphone, and changed everything with a few brave words. If you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or underestimated, this one's for you. Subscribe to Life Stories and join us as we dive into today's unforgettable journey. Your story starts here. I still remember the moment the room went silent. Not the warm kind of silence that follows a heartfelt toast or the tender hush of a first dance. No, this was the kind of silence that slaps you across the face and dares you to cry in front of 100 strangers. It was at my younger brother Ethan's wedding. One of those perfectly staged events with white roses, candlelight flickering off gold-rimmed glasses, and a violinist playing soft, unrecognizable melodies in the background. Everything looked like it had been lifted from a bridal magazine. And there I was, sitting at a table near the back, trying to blend in and not wrinkle the only semi-formal dress I owned. Ethan's bride, Brooke, stood on stage, all wrapped up in pearl white perfection. The microphone looked like a trophy in her hand, and the smile on her face didn't quite reach her eyes. It rarely did. Over the past year, I'd watched her float through family events, always just a little too polished, offering compliments that felt more like judgment disguised in lace. And then she said it. A joke. A throwaway comment, tossed out like confetti but sharper than broken glass. And to my soon-to-be sister-in-law, Jessica, the bravest single mom I know. I mean, raising a kid on your own? That takes courage or desperation. Either way, you've made it work. She laughed. The room followed. The sound of people laughing at me, sank into my skin like cold rain. I froze, unsure of how to respond. I tried to smile, but it didn't come. My chest tightened. I reached for my glass of water and couldn't lift it without spilling. My hands were shaking too badly. Then my mother, Linda, leaned into her champagne and said, just loud enough for the mic to catch. She's like a discount model with a scratched label. That did it. That's when the laughter turned from scattered chuckles to full-blown cackles. Forks stopped midair. Glasses clinked. I sat there, heart thudding in my chest, the blood rushing to my cheeks so hard I thought I might pass out. And through it all, Ethan, my baby brother, my once-upon-a-time partner in everything, just sat at the head table staring into his lap. He didn't say a word. He didn't look at me. Not until one fleeting second when his eyes flickered up, caught mine, and then darted away. That tiny moment of guilt, it gutted me more than the laughter. I felt like I was 8 years old again, standing behind the garage, where the neighborhood girls used to whisper about my hand-me-downs and the way I smelled of the laundry soap my mom bought in bulk. Except now, it wasn't strangers judging me. It was my family. All because I didn't fit. Because I wasn't wearing designer heels or diamond studs. Because I'd made it through 9 years of motherhood without the help of a man and had the audacity to show up in a clearance rack dress and try to smile like I belonged. Next to me, Mason, my sweet, quiet 9-year-old, held his cloth napkin in both hands, his big brown eyes watching me like I was glass. "Mom," he whispered, "why are they laughing at you?" And just like that, the thread I'd been holding everything together with unraveled. What was I supposed to say? That sometimes the people who are meant to love you most are the first ones to throw you under the bus? That sometimes, no matter how hard you try, you'll still be the punchline? I wanted to grab his hand and walk out. I wanted to leave before my dignity disappeared completely. But before I could even move, Mason pushed back his chair and stood up. No hesitation, no fear, just this quiet, steady strength that didn't belong in a child his age. And he started walking toward the stage. I didn't know it yet, but in that moment, everything was about to change. At first, I thought Mason was just confused. Maybe he was going toward the cake table or following the music, or maybe he just wanted to get a closer look at the fairy lights strung above the stage. I whispered his name, Mason, barely audible, my throat dry with panic. I half stood, hoping to catch his attention without making a scene. But he didn't stop. He walked straight across the polished wooden floor, every step echoing like a countdown. A few guests turned in their seats. Someone whispered, "Is that her kid?" I felt the weight of their eyes, their judgment slicing through me like glass. I wanted the ground to open up and swallow me whole. He climbed the 2 steps onto the stage. The DJ leaned down, probably to steer him away gently, but then I heard Ethan's voice from the head table, calm and steady. "Let him speak." And just like that, the whole room stilled. There he was, my 9-year-old son, in his little clip-on tie and slightly wrinkled dress shirt, standing in front of a microphone as tall as him. He gripped it with both hands like it was the only thing anchoring him to the earth. And when he spoke, his voice didn't shake. "I know something about the bride," he said. The words hung in the air like thunderclouds. Even Brooke, who had been fake laughing with her bridesmaids moments earlier, turned slowly, her smile stiffening. "What are you talking about, sweetheart?" she asked, her voice light, but there was a tremor in it now, like porcelain beginning to crack. Mason glanced at me, just for a second, and in that look I saw everything, his fear, his anger, and something deeper, a conviction, a quiet belief that truth was more important than keeping things pretty. "I was looking for the bathroom before the wedding," he said, and I heard Brooke talking to one of her friends. Gasps floated through the air like cold wind. "She said she didn't really want to marry Uncle Ethan. She said she needed someone who'd buy her a house and wouldn't ask questions when she stayed out late. She said Uncle Ethan was too nice to ever say no." A fork dropped. A couple of guests straightened in their chairs, suddenly awake. Brooke's face turned pale. She opened her mouth to object, but nothing came. "And she said—" Mason's voice faltered for the first time, but only for a breath. "She said once they were married, she'd make sure people like my mom never showed up again." Silence, heavy and real. I felt my heart break open, not from shame, but from the pride that surged inside me like fire. "She said my mom was embarrassing," Mason added, his voice soft but firm. "But she's not. She's kind and brave, and she never talks bad about anyone." His voice cracked slightly at the end. That was when I stopped breathing altogether. Because in that moment, my son wasn't just defending me. He was seeing me and letting the world see me too. The room didn't just fall silent, it froze. The applause, the laughter, the clinking glasses, it all vanished. Time hung suspended as if the universe itself were holding its breath. Brooke's expression twisted. Her smile had vanished long ago, replaced by something cold and unrecognizable. She looked around the room, searching for a lifeline, a face of support, but none came. Ethan rose slowly from his seat, not in anger, not for drama, just like a man trying to stand upright in the middle of a storm he never saw coming. "Mason," he said gently, "can you come here, bud?" Mason nodded, calm and composed, and walked toward his uncle. Ethan bent down, whispered something to him I couldn't hear, and then pulled him into a long, silent hug. That's when it hit me. Ethan wasn't angry. He was heartbroken. He turned to Brooke then, his voice cracked right down the middle. "You said that?" Brooke blinked fast. "Ethan, he's a child. You're really going to take the word of a 9-year-old over your fiancé?" He didn't answer. She pushed on, her voice climbing in pitch. "Come on. I was just venting. Girls talk like that before weddings. We say dumb stuff, we blow off steam. He misunderstood. He's 9. And then, from the back of the room, another voice rang out. I heard her too. Heads turned. It was Rachel, one of Ethan's old friends, the kind that slowly disappeared after Brooke came into his life. She stood up, eyes fierce. I was in the bridal suite earlier. She didn't see me, but she said exactly what Mason said, word for word. The tension shattered. The truth had landed, and there was no undoing it. Brooke's face twisted into something between rage and panic. "Oh my God, are you all seriously doing this to me? On my wedding night?" But no one was listening anymore. Ethan looked like someone had yanked the floor out from under him. "I asked you so many times," he whispered. "I asked if you loved me, if you were sure. You kept saying yes." Brooke reached for his hand, but he stepped back. "I don't know what's true anymore," he said, But I know Mason didn't make that up, and I know Jessica didn't deserve the way we treated her. That hit me like lightning. Sharp, bright, and unexpected. Brooke turned and walked out. Her heels clicked faster and faster across the floor until the sound disappeared entirely. Then someone started clapping. Soft, steady, and then another, and then the whole room. Not for Ethan, not for me, but for Mason, for telling the truth when no one else would. That night in the parking lot, I looked at Mason through the rearview mirror. His face was soft with sleep, curls damp, bow tie askew. "You okay, baby?" I asked. He nodded. "Yeah, are you?" That question hit me harder than anything said at the wedding. "I think I am," I whispered. "I think I really am." And I meant it. Because in the most humiliating moment of my life, my son gave me back something I didn't even realize I'd lost. My voice. That night, after I tucked Mason into bed, his little hands still warm, his breathing soft and even, I sat alone in the quiet of my living room. The events of the day replayed in my mind like a dream I hadn't yet fully woken from. I still felt the sting of the laughter, the humiliation, the weight of being judged for simply existing as I am. But more than that, I felt something else. I felt seen. My son, just 9 years old, had stood in front of a room full of adults and told the truth. Not just any truth, but the kind that people are often too afraid to speak aloud. He didn't do it for attention. He didn't do it to hurt anyone. He did it to protect someone he loves. He did it for me. In that moment, Mason reminded me of something I had forgotten, that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it stands small, in a too big suit, gripping a microphone with shaky hands. For years, I thought being a single mom made me lesser, like I had been stamped damaged or incomplete. But that day, in front of all those people, my son showed me the truth. I'm not damaged. I'm not invisible. I'm a mother, a fighter, a woman who has walked through fire and come out stronger. And I will never again let anyone make me feel small for that. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of your own strength or the quiet power of truth and love, please consider supporting our journey. Subscribe to Life Stories for more real, raw, and honest moments just like this one. Tap the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and remember, your voice matters.